A missing Texas woman was found living with a lost African tribe in Scotland. A former Miss Universe contestant dies after being hit by an elk. And the Minnesota Vikings NFL football team has sparked controversy by hiring male cheerleaders. These are the weird stories on Weird AF News, the only daily weird news podcast hosted by a guy in a closet in Los Angeles. Here we go. A missing Texas woman has been found alive in Scotland, living with a lost African tribe. I got some questions. I got this article here that it begins by describing the lost African tribe in the Scottish woodlands. Who knew? Imagine trekking through the Scottish woodlands and discovering a lost African tribe. I would think that I was on acid. The Kingdom of Kabbalah claims they have settled in a forest in Jedburgh with the intention of reclaiming the land that was stolen from their ancestors in the Highlands 400 years ago. Huh. Well, on the face of it, I have to cast some doubt on the veracity of the claims of an African tribe to some Scottish Highlands. I mean, it's not exactly the environment that Africans have thrived in. They're more of an equatorial ancestry, in my experience. But let's hear what they have to say. Now, this tribe consists of 3 individuals. 3. So I don't even know 3 was enough to call yourself a tribe. It's more of I would call it a tea party, maybe. A small group, a gathering. But they're saying this is a tribe. The trio consists of group leader King Atahene, age 36, who was previously an opera singer under the name Kofi Ofe, and his wife Queen Nandi, and their handmaiden Asnat. You can't make this up. Bring me my handmaiden Asnat. I'm sorry, I don't mean to make fun of the names, but I can be very immature. So, a handmaiden named Asnat is really funny. Now, new information. It has emerged that Cora Taylor from Texas, who has been reported missing by her family in the U.S., is with this trio. Lady Safi and Asnat and the King. When LARPing goes too far, guys, right? I'm sorry. Hey, I mean, I'm almost jealous that, with what's going on in the world right now, who the hell wouldn't want to just leave everything and go join a cult in the woods of Scotland? Put some banana leaves over your private parts, call yourself a handmaiden, and serve your king. And it's a hell of a lot better than what's going on in contemporary society right now, probably. Now, Cora Taylor from Texas, she posted a video message from her camp. She said, "To the UK authorities, obviously I am not missing. Leave me alone. I'm an adult, not a helpless child." I guess she's been being harassed by the UK authorities. Her family from Texas is probably getting on the case here and urging the authorities to help bring their daughter back to civilization. At the end of the day, Cora is an adult, though, and she's making her own decisions on how she wants to live her life. And so, the family might have to just come to terms with that on their own. I mean, maybe unless she's abandoned some children back in Texas, then maybe you can, maybe you have a case here to bring her back to the kids. But, I don't know. Let's keep reading and find out what Cora's situation is. It says, as for the tribe, they claim they don't recognize any local laws whatsoever, and they have faced a lot of persecution from those who just don't understand their ways. They have been served eviction notices as well, and have even suffered an attack on their campsite when their tents were set on fire. All right, so it's more of a camping group than the establishment of a kingdom or a tribe, it would seem. It's honestly, it sounds like a cult startup kit. If I'm being honest. And, the locals don't like them camping, and I can empathize. I live in Los Angeles, where there's a lot of camping going on the streets here. So, hey, I don't know if they got the memo over there. Cora and her tribe can come. You can set up tents pretty much anywhere in Los Angeles, and no one says a damn thing about it. Now, the tribe is standing their ground. Instead of bowing to local law enforcement, they say they only recognize the laws of their God. Their God's name, Yahweh. Yahweh. Yehovah? Yehovah. Yahweh. It could be any of those choices. Pick one. And the tribe, they claim legitimacy. In fact, their, quote, king claims to be a descendant of the Messiah. Well, which Messiah? Because there's been so many. The menu of Messiahs is pretty long. As you can imagine, their presence in the forest has baffled the locals, although the tribe claims to live a simple life, bathing in a nearby stream, living in tents, and connecting with nature. Here's a quote from King Atahene. There's a picture of the king. Wow, he actually looks like a legitimate African king. So the cosplay is serious. Here's a quote from the king. We live a very simple life of returning to innocence. We connect to nature. We connect to the trees around us. We get grounded every morning. We bathe in the spring water. We are living a simple life, relying daily on the Creator for food, shelter, and clothing. We live in a tent without walls, but we are not afraid of anyone, for we have the protection of the Creator, Yahweh. Now, these individuals claim they are a lost tribe of Hebrews, with their king descended from David the Messiah, and they say their ancestors were cast out when Elizabeth I deported native black Jacobites. I can't pronounce these complicated tribe names. I'm doing the best I can here, but public school, you know how it is. There's some more quotes from the king, but it seems all skibbity-dibbity. Let's skip to the wife, Queen Nandi, age 43, a mother of 7, who was born as Jean Gasho. I wonder what state she's from. She shared a statement on social media. So the tribe is on social media, despite their claims that they're trying to live a simple life in the forest. They're still connected. She said, "We are the lost tribes of Hebrews and have returned to claim Scotland as our homeland, a land stolen by Elizabeth I 400 years ago when she deported all black people from Scotland and England who were not Africans but natives of the land." This is news to me that there were African natives 400 years ago on the lands of Scotland and England. But then again, white people write the history books. So, I don't know. Maybe they were there. Chances are no, and these are just some people that are suffering from some pathology that need help. But let's keep reading. The Scottish Border Council say they have been working with Police Scotland to manage the ongoing situation. Here's a quote from a spokesperson of the Scottish Borders Council. This has included the provision of advice and information about housing options and other support services for these people. Well, you ought to just send ICE over there. They'll show you how to handle people like this. They don't ask questions. They just grab you if you're brown and chuck you in a truck. That's what is going on. Now, this is the end of the article. I got no other information. There's no GoFundMe to get them some warm blankets. They're living in a tent in the Scottish forest, and I'm wondering, have they experienced the Scottish winter in the forest yet? Or is this all new? Because that would change your mind real quick. You're like, oh man, actually, guys, maybe this tribe thing isn't for us. Probably need to get into a building. A former Miss Universe contestant has passed away after a collision with an elk. Ksenia Alexandrova, who represented Russia in the 2017 Miss Universe pageant, has tragically passed away at the age of 30 after a collision with an elk while driving. Oh, she was in a car. Okay. It wasn't clear in the title. I just thought an elk hit her at a rest stop. Or perhaps she, jumped into an enclosure at a zoo. People tend to do that. I don't know what makes people jump into zoo enclosures, but it's been a trend. Anyone who's been listening to Weird AF News for the past few years has probably noticed this same strange behavioral trend in that for some reason people want to jump into zoo enclosures and get close to the wildlife. This obviously isn't the case. This poor young woman has died after her car collided with an elk. The model's husband told the media that the couple were returning from the town of Rzhev in the Tver. How do you pronounce it? Tver? How dare you put a V next to a T and then expect me to pronounce this word? And the previous word is an RZ. How do you say these things? I had an easier time pronouncing the strange names of some lost African tribe. Never mind. Now this is just a European city. Okay, it's the Tver Oblast region. It all happened when they struck the animal along the nation's sprawling M9 highway. The husband was behind the wheel. The wife sat in the passenger seat. The husband said, "An elk jumped out from somewhere, jumped out in front of our car. From the moment it jumped out until the impact, a split second passed. I didn't have time to do anything. The elk flew into the car. The blow hit Alexandrova in the head. She was unconscious. Her head was broken. Everything was covered in blood. There's a photo here of Alexandrova. Wow. I mean, so stunning. Unbelievable beauty. Drop dead dime. This woman, this former Miss Universe. How tragic. I mean, it's tragic when anybody young dies anyways, but I mean, looking at her face, my goodness, this is so sad. So sad. I feel terrible for the family. Alexandrova sustained severe injuries to her brain from the collision with the elk, eventually succumbing after some days spent in a coma. The husband noted that both of them were wearing their seatbelts at the time of the collision and that he was driving at a slow speed when the elk jumped in front of the car. The airbags did not deploy, but several other drivers along the highway stopped to aid the couple when they saw the crash. An ambulance shortly thereafter transferred her to the nearby Sklifosovsky Institute for Emergency Medicine in Moscow. I think I said it correctly. Now, to make it even more sad, I'm so sorry to report, but Alexandrova and Ilya, her husband, were just married in March. So, really tragic and very, very sad. And, there's no way I'm really even going to make this funny or even try. You hit an elk. It's not going to go well. You can get away with hitting a deer. I've hit a deer on the highways of Vermont once when I was driving up to Montreal to party. That's what guys in Boston do. We turn 18 and we drive up to Montreal and we act like total degenerates. And I've actually apologized to the city of Montreal on a few occasions on this podcast, and I'll apologize again for what I did on St. Catherine Street. And then on a separate occasion at a place called Club Crescent, I'm very, very sorry for what went on there. Me and my friends take full responsibility. Anyways, we struck a deer on one of those trips up there, and it didn't completely ruin the car, just kind of scraped it up a bit. We were able to continue the trip. But if you hit an elk or a moose, or I don't know, heaven forbid, a rhino, you might not drive away or even walk away from that event. They're very big animals, and they'll do more damage to your car than another car would. It's like hitting a brick wall with legs. Let me end this segment by saying that when young people die like this, it's very tragic, and it reminds us how lucky we are to have another day around the sun. So if there's anything you can take away from this segment, it's just that how lucky you are to be alive today. So do what you will with that information. If it means telling your loved ones that you care for them and that you're grateful for them, then maybe we should all do that today. Male cheerleaders have been hired by the NFL's Minnesota Vikings, and it's sparked some controversy. That's right, the Minnesota Vikings have decided to allow a couple of men to dance along with their cheerleaders. And if you are surprised and displeased, you are only revealing your own ignorance. That's what the article says. The team released a statement after there was some online blowback about hiring male cheerleaders. They explained that there was nothing new here. Here's their quote. While many fans may be seeing male cheerleaders for the first time at Vikings games, male cheerleaders have actually been part of previous Vikings teams and have long been associated with collegiate and professional cheerleading. Well, yeah, I mean, I thought everybody knew that there's been a history of male cheerleaders. We had them at my high school, so there's nothing new here. In fact, if you do your research, you'll find that the very first cheerleader ever was in the late 19th century. It was a male. And the first few cheerleaders were actually male, and that's a historical fact. However, despite the history, the team's new male cheerleaders, Blaze, Chic, and Louis Kahn, have been the topic of fierce social media debate after speaking out against critics, as the team has even put out a statement in defense of the two men on the cheer squad. We got Blaze, Chic, and Louis Kahn. These sounds like the names of wrestlers. Really cool names. Or porn stars. Could be porn stars. Now, not everybody's pleased with this. Former Vikings player and current conservative activist Jack Brewer told the media he is disgusted and embarrassed about the new cheerleaders. What do you care, man? What does it have to do with you? You're a former player, all right? You're a conservative activist. Like, does this really bother you in your life? I never understand these people. They get so butthurt about things that don't concern them in any way whatsoever. as pertaining to their daily lifestyle, their own life, their own private lives. It doesn't affect you. Goodness, this fabricated angst that we see on a daily is just, it's infantile, honestly. What are you, a child? What is this, high school? Here's a little quote from this moron Jack. He says, I think I speak for a lot of other former players and Vikings fans when I say that this does not represent this great franchise. Oh, really? A lot of other former players and Vikings fans? You think you represent a lot? I don't think you got your data correct, Jack. Jack says, now we're being represented with men with pom-poms on the sideline. It's sickening. No man needs to ever have a pom-pom in their hand. Dude, did you not play high school football? You probably had male cheerleaders. I mean, it's so common. What is wrong with this guy? He acts like this isn't a thing. It's been a thing, bro. It just hasn't, really been seen on the professional level so much. Turn on a college game on a Saturday afternoon. You will see male cheerleaders often. It's not out of the ordinary. What did this guy just drop from another planet? Hey, everybody, Jack just woke up from a coma, and he's surprised by a lot of cultural ongoings that are completely ordinary. Jack went on to say this insane comment. He said he believes the inclusion of men on the cheerleading squad is an attempt to manipulate children. Okay, all right. We don't need to quote this maniac anymore. Thank you. Your minute is up, sir. The article goes on to say that the Vikings are not the first NFL team to employ male cheerleaders. The Los Angeles Rams were the first organization to have male cheerleaders in 2018. The Baltimore Ravens also featured several men on their cheerleading squad. Meanwhile, the Carolina Panthers had the first transgender cheerleader on its squad until this year. The Vikings made a statement saying, male cheerleaders have been part of previous Vikings teams and have long been associated with collegiate and professional cheerleading. We support all our cheerleaders and are proud of the role they play as ambassadors of the organization. In this article, there's a quote here from a senator from Alabama. I don't know why you would ask a Republican from Alabama. I guess you want some more insane quotes. He says, people will actually quit buying tickets because this is the narrative they're trying to push in Minnesota. All right, well, people are not going to stop buying tickets. Stupid, right? The NFL is unstoppable. It's an unstoppable force. The NFL is bulletproof. You can put somebody on the field that has molested dozens of masseuses and people will still watch the game. People do not care. Male cheerleaders. They put wife beaters on the field, bro. Wife beaters. People will always watch the NFL. The tickets will sell. Your team could be garbage, hot garbage, and you will still sell tickets. This is how popular football is. More people tuned in to watch the NFL draft. The draft, that's not even a game. That's a bunch of rich dudes picking players. More people tuned in to watch an NFL draft than the NBA playoffs. I mean, it is completely bulletproof. So for you to say that people are going to stop buying tickets or not watch an NFL team because they hired some male cheerleaders is just completely asinine and baseless. And it just shows that you don't even know how commerce works. You're a senator. It just also shows the naivete of people commenting on this. Obviously, they've never been to an NFL game, because if you go to an NFL game, I'm going to tell you right now, here's the big secret. No one notices the cheerleaders. You can't even hear them unless you're seated right directly behind them. Once in a while, they flash them on the Jumbotron. I don't even know if they call it that anymore. I think that's a very obscure name, although it's probably still in the dictionary. They flash them on the big screen, and you can't even hear their cheers on there. They're just background. I mean, you could do without cheerleaders completely, and it wouldn't affect the game in any way whatsoever, in my opinion. Not on the NFL level, anyways. So, hardly anyone's going to notice a male cheerleader anyways, so this is just useless angst. But, they just politicize everything these days, it seems. And now I'm looking at a photo of one of the male cheerleaders. I guess this is Blaze Chic. Blaze is hot, I'm just going to tell you right now. So if you haven't taken a peep at Blaze, you might want to drop what you're doing and take a look at this hot-ass cheerleader for the Vikings named Blaze Chic. I mean, huge pom-poms on this one. But whatever you do, don't let your child see a photo of Blaze holding pom-poms and enjoying himself on the field, because that's how people get gay. Ask any gay adult. They'll tell you how they turned gay. It's always something like they saw a male cheerleader or a drag queen read a story to them. That's facts, bro. That's science, bro. That's facts. Hello, my friends, my weirdos, my loyal listeners. Thank you for spending some time with your buddy Jonesy and the Weird AF News podcast. I so appreciate that. If you could do me a favor, share the podcast with a friend or a neighbor or an arresting officer, that would be supremely helpful. I appreciate that. It doesn't cost you anything but a little bit of time and some very small mouth noises that you could make on my behalf. Like, that would be very, very nice of you. So thank you. If you're new to the podcast, consider subscribing. It's not for everybody, but just to give you a rundown of what happens here on Weird AF News, I do weird news from around the world Monday through Thursday, and on Friday it's only weird news from Florida. So that's how it is. I oftentimes share personal anecdotes when they're related to my life, and sometimes they're not interesting, but sometimes they are. And I do various impressions and voices that aren't very good either, and occasionally I sing. But the singing is okay. I've been told it's okay. So that's what you get on Weird AF News. So please consider subscribing. It's available on all podcast players. I'll just say that, and I'll let you go. Don't want to keep you. Have a great day.